Princess Lyra stepped onto the Golden Tide and immediately felt sick. The ship was perfect in every way. The walls gleamed like mirrors. The floors were made of smooth crystal that changed colors as she walked. Everything was clean and bright and beautiful, but it felt cold and empty, like a museum where no one was allowed to touch anything. She turned around and walked right back off the ship. Her guards looked confused. The Zephyrian diplomats started talking in fast, worried voices. Princess Lyra stood on the docking platform of Harmony Point Space Station and crossed her arms. "I will not travel on this ship," she said in a clear voice that everyone could hear. Minister Kexton rushed forward. His blue skin was turning darker blue, which meant he was upset. "Your Highness, what is wrong?" "The Golden Tide is the finest ship in our fleet. It has every comfort you could want." "That is exactly the problem," Princess Lyra said. "I want to travel on a human ship." The silence that followed was so complete that even the normal sounds of the space station seemed to stop. 50 different alien species lived and worked on Harmony Point, but right now they were all staring at the Zephyrian princes who had just said something impossible. "A human ship?" Minister Kexton's voice cracked. "Your Highness, human ships are just metal boxes with engines. They are loud and dirty and small. Why would you want to travel in such a thing?" Princess Lyra looked at the Golden Tide one more time. It was 3 times bigger than any human ship. It had rooms that could change their shape with a thought. It had food makers that could create any meal from any world. It had gravity that was always perfect and air that always smelled like flowers, but it had no soul. "Because," she said, "human ships are alive." At the Harmony Point Cantina, Captain Jake Morrison was having a bad day. His cargo shipment had been delayed. His ship needed repairs he could not afford. And now someone was buying him a drink, which usually meant trouble. Commander Lisa Park sat down across from him. She wore the blue uniform of the Terran Diplomatic Corps, and she looked like she had not slept in days. "Captain Morrison," she said, "I need your help." Jake took a long drink and looked at her. "Lady, I haul cargo from one end of the galaxy to the other. I do not do diplomatic stuff." "This is different," Lisa said. "There is a princess who wants to hire your ship." "A princess?" Jake laughed. "My ship is not built for royalty. The Lucky Strike is a working ship. The floors are metal. The beds are hard. The food is basic. No princess would want to travel on my ship." Lisa leaned forward. "This princess does. She asked for you by name." Jake stopped laughing. "By name? How does she even know who I am?" "That is a good question," Lisa said. "Princess Lyra of the Zephyrian Empire has studied human culture for years. She knows about human ships and human crews. And she refuses to travel on anything except a human vessel." "Where does she want to go?" "The Galactic Peace Summit on Kepler 442b. It is the most important diplomatic meeting in 50 years. Every major species will be there." "And she will only travel on your ship?" Jake rubbed his face with his hands. "Why me? There are bigger human ships." "Newer ships? Ships with actual passenger rooms?" "She asked for the Lucky Strike specifically," Lisa said. "She said she wanted to travel on a ship with heart." Before Jake could ask what that meant, the cantina doors opened. Princess Lyra walked in, and every conversation in the room stopped. She was tall and graceful, with pale blue skin and silver hair that seemed to move by itself. She wore simple clothes instead of the fancy robes that most royalty liked. But what surprised Jake the most was that she looked nervous. She walked straight to their table. "Captain Morrison, I am Princess Lyra. I would like to hire your ship." Jake stood up, not sure if he should bow or shake hands or what. "Your Highness, I think there has been a mistake. My ship is not suitable for someone like you." "Someone like me?" Princess Lyra sat down without being invited. "What kind of person do you think I am?" "Well, you are a princess. You are used to nice things, comfortable things." "My ship is not comfortable." Princess Lyra smiled for the first time since entering the cantina. "Captain, do you know why I want to travel on your ship?" "No, ma'am, I do not." "Because I have read about human ships. I know that you talk to your ship like it is a friend. I know that every human ship has its own personality. I know that human crews treat their ships like homes, not just transportation. Jake looked at Commander Park, who shrugged. He looked back at the princess. That is true, but the Golden Tide is perfect, Princess Lyra said. Everything works exactly as it should. The temperature is always right. The lights are always the correct brightness. The gravity never changes. It is like living inside a machine. Is that not good? It is boring, Princess Lyra said. Your ship makes sounds. It shakes when the engines start. The lights flicker. Sometimes the gravity changes a little when you turn corners. It is alive. Jake had never thought about his ship that way, but she was right. The Lucky Strike did have personality. It made a weird humming sound when the hyperdrive warmed up. The lights in the common room dimmed when someone used the food maker. The whole ship vibrated in a way that felt like a heartbeat. Your Highness, Commander Park said, the diplomatic situation is very delicate. The peace summit is in 3 days. If you do not arrive on time, I will arrive on time, Princess Lyra said. On Captain Morrison's ship, Jake looked around the cantina. Every alien in the place was still staring at them. Some looked curious. Others looked angry. A few looked scared. This was the kind of situation that could start wars. Why is this summit so important? Jake asked. Princess Lyra's smile disappeared. Because if it fails, billions of people will die. The weight of those words settled over the table like a heavy blanket. Jake had hauled cargo through war zones. He had seen what happened when species fought each other. It was never pretty. There is something else, Princess Lyra said quietly. The summit is not just about peace, it is about my wedding. Your wedding? I am supposed to marry Prince Vorthan of the Hegemony Collective. Our marriage will unite our species and prevent war. She paused. But I do not trust him. Commander. Park leaned forward. Your Highness, you cannot say such things. The marriage alliance is a trap, Princess Lyra finished. And I need allies who understand what it means to fight for what is right, even when the odds are impossible. She looked directly at Jake. I have read about humans, Captain Morrison. I know that you never give up. I know that you find ways to win even when you should lose. I know that you help people even when it is dangerous. Jake thought about all the times he had helped stranded ships or delivered medicine to plague worlds or carried refugees to safety. He had never thought of it as heroic. It was just what you did. Princess, he said, my ship is not much to look at. That is exactly why I want to travel on it, she said. Beautiful things are often empty inside, but things that are built for work, built to last, built by people who care about them, those things have souls. Jake looked at Commander Park. One more time, she nodded. All right, Your Highness, Jake said. Welcome aboard the Lucky Strike. Jake led Princess Lyra through the docking tunnels toward the Lucky Strike. Commander Park walked beside them, talking into her communication device about diplomatic protocols and security measures. The princess seemed excited, looking around at everything like she had never seen a space station before. Your Highness, Jake said, I should warn you about my crew. They are good people, but they are not used to royalty. Good, Princess Lyra said. I do not want to be treated like royalty. I want to be treated like a person. They reached the Lucky Strike's airlock. Jake pressed his hand against the scanner, and the door opened with a loud hiss. The princess jumped slightly at the sound, then smiled. See, it is already talking to us. Inside the ship, Jake's crew was waiting. They had clearly tried to clean up, but the Lucky Strike was still a working cargo ship. The walls were metal, the floors were rubber. Everything was practical and sturdy, but not pretty. Princess Lyra, Jake said, this is my crew, Pete Collins, our engineer. Pete stepped forward. He was a big man with grease under his fingernails and worry in his eyes. Your Highness, I am sorry about the mess. We did not have much time to prepare. There is no mess, Princess Lyra said. This is what a real ship looks like. This is Amy Rodriguez, our communications officer. Amy was young and nervous. She had changed into her cleanest uniform and tied her hair back. Princess, I loaded some music files from Earth onto the entertainment system. I thought you might like to hear them. I would love that, Princess Lyra said. I have read about human music, but I have never heard it. Dr. Ben Carter, our medical officer. Dr. Carter was older, with kind eyes and steady hands. Your Highness, I have studied Zephyrian biology. If you need any medical care during the journey, I am prepared. Thank you, Doctor. That is very thoughtful. And Nancy Wright, our pilot? Nancy was small and quick, with calloused hands from years of flying. Princess, I have plotted 3 different courses to Kepler 442b. We can take the fast route, the safe route, or the scenic route. Which route would you choose? Princess Lyra asked. The safe route, Nancy said without hesitation. Fast routes go through dangerous space. Scenic routes take too long. Safe routes get you where you need to go in one piece. Princess Lyra nodded. Then we take the safe route. I trust your judgment. Jake showed the princess to the small passenger cabin. It had a narrow bed, a tiny desk, and a porthole that looked out into space. The walls were plain metal with a few scratches and dents. This is not much, Jake said. Princess Lyra sat on the bed and looked around. It is perfect. This room has been used by real people. They have slept here and dreamed here and worried here. I can feel their presence. You can feel their presence? Zephyrians are sensitive to emotional residue, she explained. The golden tide feels empty because it is cleaned and reset after every use. But this room remembers everyone who has stayed here. It feels warm. Jake had never thought about his ship that way. Princess, can I ask you something? Of course. Why? Did you really choose my ship? The real reason. Princess Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, because I need to learn how to be brave. You seem pretty brave to me. You just told the entire galactic diplomatic corps that you would not travel on their fancy ship. That was not bravery, she said. That was desperation. True bravery is what I will need at the Peace Summit. What happens at the summit? Princess. Lyra stood up and walked to the porthole. I marry Prince Vorthan. Our species form an alliance. War is prevented. Billions of lives are saved. That sounds like a good thing. It would be if Prince Vorthan was a good person. She turned around to face Jake, but he is not. I have discovered that he plans to use our marriage to gain access to Zephyrian technology. Once he has what he wants, he will break the alliance and use our own weapons against us. Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Are you sure? I have proof. But if I reveal it at the summit, it will cause the very war the marriage was supposed to prevent. If I do not reveal it, Prince Vorthan will eventually get what he wants anyway. So what will you do? I do not know yet, Princess Lyra said. That is why I need to learn bravery from humans. You always find a third option. You never accept that there are only 2 choices, even when everyone tells you there are. Jake understood now. You want to find a way to stop the marriage and prevent the war. Yes, but I do not know how. That is why I chose your ship. Humans think differently than other species. You solve problems that should not have solutions. Jake thought about all the impossible situations he had been in over the years, lost in space with no fuel, trapped in asteroid fields, chased by pirates. Each time, he and his crew had found a way out that no one else had thought of. Princess, he said, maybe we can help you think of something. Her eyes lit up. You would do that? That is what humans do. We help each other. They were interrupted by Pete's voice over the ship's communication system. Captain, we have a problem. Jake and Princess Lyra went to the bridge where the crew was gathered around a display screen. On it was Minister Kexton, the princess's advisor. Your Highness, he said, you must return to the Golden Tide immediately. This is a diplomatic disaster. Prince Vorthan has been informed of your choice of transportation. He is very angry. Let him be angry, Princess Lyra said. Princess, you do not understand. He is saying that your refusal to travel on a proper ship is an insult to the alliance. He is threatening to call off the wedding. Jake saw the princes tense up. If the wedding was called off, the war would start immediately. Tell Prince Vorthan, Princess Lyra said slowly, that I am learning about human customs. It is important for our future alliance that I understand all species, including humans. Minister Kexton looked confused. Human customs? Yes, humans. Believe that the ship you travel on says something about who you are. I'm showing respect for human culture by traveling on a human ship. Jake had to admire her quick thinking. It was not exactly true, but it was not exactly false either. I will relay your message, Minister Kexton said. But Your Highness, please be careful. Too much interest in human ways might be seen as suspicious. The communication ended. Princess Lyra sat down heavily in one of the bridge chairs. How much time do we have? Jake asked. 3 days to reach Kepler 442b, Nancy said. 2 days to think of a plan. No pressure, Pete muttered. Dr. Carter stepped forward. Princess, may I ask what evidence you have against Prince Vorthan? Recorded conversations, financial records, communications with weapons dealers. Enough to prove his real intentions. And if you reveal this evidence at the summit, his species will claim it is fake. They will say I'm trying to break the alliance for selfish reasons. The other species will not know who to believe. Some will side with him, some with me. War will begin anyway. Amy looked up from her communications console. Princess, what if there was a way to make Prince Vorthan reveal his true nature himself? What do you mean? Well, if he is planning to betray the alliance anyway, maybe we can trick him into showing his real intentions before the wedding. Jake smiled. This was exactly what he had been talking about. Humans always looked for the third option. That is a good idea, he said. But how do we do it? Princess Lyra stood up and walked to the view screen, which showed the stars streaming past as they traveled through hyperspace. I think I know a way, but it will be dangerous. Dangerous how? Jake asked. We will need to make Prince Vorthan think that I am trying to escape the marriage. If he believes I am running away, he will show his true nature to stop me. And if it does not work? Princess Lyra turned back to face the crew of the Lucky Strike. Then I will need friends who are brave enough to stand with me against impossible odds. Jake looked at his crew. Pete nodded. Amy smiled. Dr. Carter looked determined. Nancy gave a thumbs up. Princess, Jake said, you came to the right ship. The Lucky Strike had been traveling for 6 hours when Princess Lyra found Pete in the engine room. He was lying under a power coupling, cursing at a stubborn bolt. She could hear him clearly through the ship's walls. Do you need help? She asked. Pete slid out from under the machinery, his face covered in grease. Your Highness, I'm sorry, I did not know you were there. And I am sorry about the language. I have heard worse, Princess Lyra said. And please, call me Lyra. Can I help you with the repair? Pete looked at her clean clothes and then at the dirty engine. This is not work for a princess. But it is work for a crew member, Lyra said. And I am part of this crew now. Pete handed her a wrench. Hold this while I tighten the coupling. Lyra held the tool steady while Pete worked. She asked questions about how the engine worked, why this part was important, and what would happen if it broke. Pete found himself explaining complicated engineering concepts in simple terms. The hyperdrive is like a big heart, he said. It pumps energy through the whole ship. If one part gets clogged, the whole system suffers. Like blood vessels, Lyra said. Exactly, you understand machines pretty well for a princess. I understand. Living things, Lyra said. And you are right about ships being alive. Meanwhile, in the common room, Amy was teaching Dr. Carter how to play a card game called poker. Jake sat nearby, drinking coffee and watching them. The key to poker, Amy explained, is not having the best cards. It is making the other players think you have the best cards. That sounds like diplomacy, Dr. Carter said. It is exactly like diplomacy, Jake said. Except in poker, you can fold if you get bad cards. In diplomacy, you have to play the cards you are dealt, Amy said, no matter how bad they are. Princess Lyra and Pete joined them in the common room. Lyra's clothes were now dirty with engine grease, but she looked happy. Pete taught me about hyperdrive engines, she said. They are much more interesting than Zephyrian quantum drives. How so? Dr. Carter asked. Quantum drives work perfectly every time. They never break down, never need maintenance, never surprise you, but hyperdrive engines are different. Each one has its own personality. This one makes a humming sound when it is happy. You can tell when an engine is happy? Amy asked. Listen, Lyra said. They all sat quietly. Sure enough, there was a soft humming sound coming from the engine room. It was barely noticeable, but once you heard it, you could not ignore it. I'd never noticed that before, Jake said. Because you were not listening, Lyra said. Humans build machines, but you also build relationships with them. That is why your ships work so well. They want to work for you. Nancy's voice came over the communication system. Captain, we are receiving a distress signal. Jake went to the bridge, followed by the others. Nancy was studying her instruments with a worried expression. What do we have? Jake asked. Mining colony on Kepler 186c, Nancy said. They are under attack by pirates. They are asking for help. Jake looked at the navigation display. The mining colony was only 2 hours away, but it would mean a detour from their course to the Peace Summit. Can we afford the delay? He asked. We would still reach Kepler 442b on time, Nancy said, but barely. Princess Lyra stepped forward. We have to help them. Your Highness, Dr. Carter said, the diplomatic mission can wait 2 hours, Lyra said firmly. Those miners cannot wait. They need help now. Jake looked at his crew. They were all thinking the same thing. They had to help. It was what humans did. Set course for the mining colony, Jake said. But Captain, Amy said, we are not a military ship. We do not have weapons. We have mining equipment, Pete said. Laser cutters, explosive charges, heavy machinery. We can make weapons. This is not a good idea, Dr. Carter said. We are risking the princess's life. No, Princess Lyra said. This is exactly what we should do. This is what I came here to learn. Jake activated the ship's communication system. Mining colony, this is Captain Morrison of the Lucky Strike. We are coming to help. Hold on. The trip to Kepler 186c took 2 hours. During that time, the crew of the Lucky Strike prepared for battle. Pete rigged the mining lasers so they could be used as weapons. Amy set up communication links with the mining colony. Dr. Carter prepared the medical bay for wounded. Nancy studied the layout of the mining facility. Princess Leia helped with everything. She showed Pete how to boost the laser power using Zephyrian energy cells from her personal belongings. She worked with Amy to decode the colony's communication frequencies. She helped Dr. Carter prepare alien-compatible medical supplies. Your Highness, Jake said, you do not have to do this. You can stay on the ship while we handle the pirates. No. Lyra said, I am part of this crew. We work together. When they arrived at the mining colony, they found a small facility built into an asteroid. 3 pirate ships were attacking it with laser cannons. The colony's defenses were failing. Nancy, take us in close, Jake said. Pete, are the weapons ready? Ready as they will ever be, Pete said. Amy, open a channel to the pirates. Amy worked her controls. Channel open. Pirate ships. This is Captain Morrison. Stop your attack. And leave immediately. Laughter came through the speakers. Human ship, you are outgunned and outnumbered. Leave now or we will destroy you too. I tried to be polite, Jake said. Nancy, attack pattern Alpha. The Lucky Strike dove toward the first pirate ship. It was not built for combat, but it was fast and maneuverable. Pete fired the mining laser at the pirate ship's engines. The laser cut through the ship's hull like butter. Direct hit, Pete shouted. Their engines are down. The second pirate ship turned to attack the Lucky Strike. Nancy threw the ship into a spinning dive that would have made a military pilot proud. The pirates' shots missed completely. Their turn, Nancy said. She brought the Lucky Strike around behind the second pirate ship. Princess Lyra was at the weapons console, helping Pete target the enemy ship. Aim for the weapon systems, she said. Disable them instead of destroying them. Why? Pete asked. Because they are still living beings, Lyra said. We stop them, we do not kill them. Pete nodded and adjusted his aim. The mining laser hit the pirate ship's weapon array, disabling it but leaving the crew alive. The third pirate ship tried to escape, but Nancy was ready. She used the Lucky Strike's tractor beam to grab a large piece of asteroid debris and flung it at the fleeing ship. The debris hit the pirate ship's engines, leaving it drifting in space. All 3 ships disabled, Nancy reported. Mining colony, this is Captain Morrison. The pirates are neutralized. Do you need medical assistance? The response came immediately. Captain Morrison, this is Colony Chief Martinez. We have wounded, but we are alive. Thank you for your help. We are sending over medical supplies and repair equipment, Jake said. For the next hour, the crew of the Lucky Strike worked to help the mining colony. Dr. Carter treated wounded miners. Pete helped repair damaged equipment. Amy coordinated the relief efforts. Nancy kept watch for more pirates. Princess Lyra worked alongside everyone else, carrying supplies and helping where she could. The miners were amazed to see a princess working as hard as anyone else. Your Highness, Chief Martinez said, why are you helping us? We are just miners. You are people, Lyra said. People who needed help. That is reason enough. When the repairs were finished and the wounded were treated, Jake gathered his crew. We need to go, he said. The summit waits for no one. As they prepared to leave, Chief Martinez called Jake aside. Captain, we do not have much to offer in payment, but we have something you might need. He handed Jake a small device. Emergency beacon. If you ever need help, activate this. Every mining ship in the sector will come running. Jake took the device. Thank you, Chief. Take care of yourselves. Back on the Lucky Strike, Princess Lyra sat in the common room, still wearing her dirty work clothes. She looked tired but happy. That was incredible, she said. What was incredible? Jake asked. How you all worked together. How you risked your lives for people you had never met. How you found a way to win against impossible odds. We had help. Pete said, your energy cells made all the difference. And your knowledge of weapon systems, Amy added. We are a team, Dr. Carter said. Princess Lyra smiled. Yes, we are. And now I know what I have to do at the summit. What is that? Jake asked. I have to stop thinking like a princess and start thinking like a human. The Lucky Strike was 12 hours away from Kepler 442b when everything went wrong. Amy was monitoring communications when she suddenly looked up with fear in her eyes. Captain, she said, we have a problem. Prince Vorthan has arrived at the summit early. He is demanding to know why Princess Lyra is not there yet. Jake looked at Princess Lyra, who had gone very pale. How early? A full day early, Amy said. And he brought a fleet of warships with him. Warships? Dr. Carter asked. To a piece. Summit? He says they are for security, Amy continued reading the messages, but the other species are getting nervous. Some of them are bringing their own warships now. Princess Lyra stood up and walked to the view screen. Outside, the stars were still streaming past as they traveled through hyperspace. He is forcing my hand, she said quietly. What do you mean? Jake asked. If I do not arrive soon, he will claim that I have run away from the marriage. That will give him an excuse to call off the alliance and start the war immediately. Pete looked up from his repair work. So we get there faster. Nancy, can we push the engines? Nancy checked her instruments. I can give you maybe 2 hours faster, but not much more. We would still be cutting it close. That is not the real problem, Princess Lyra said. She turned to face the crew. The real problem is that Prince Vorthan knows I am traveling on a human ship. He will use that against me. How? Jake asked. He will say that I have been corrupted by human ideas, that I cannot be trusted to make decisions for my people, that I am no longer fit to be a princess. Amy frowned. Is that true? Can he do that? In Zephyrian law, yes. If the royal family believes a princess has been influenced by alien cultures in a way that makes her unfit to rule, they can remove her from the line of succession. The bridge fell silent. Everyone was thinking the same thing. By helping Princess Lyra learn to be brave, they might have made things worse for her. Princess, Dr. Carter said slowly, Maybe you should transfer to a Zephyrian ship now, before we reach the summit. No, Lyra said firmly. I will not run away. Besides, it is too late now. Prince Vorthan already knows where I am. Jake was studying the navigation display. Amy, patch me through to the Zephyrian escort ship. The one that has been following us? Yes, it is time to talk to them. Amy worked her controls. You are connected to the escort ship Brightwing. Brightwing, this is Captain Morrison. I need to speak with your commanding officer. A new voice came through the speakers. This is Commander Veltar. Captain Morrison, you are in violation of diplomatic protocol. Princess Lyra should be traveling on a proper vessel. Commander, Jake said, what would happen if Princess Lyra transferred to your ship right now? She would arrive at the summit, in the proper manner as befits her station, and Prince Vorthan would still claim she had been corrupted by human influence. There was a long pause. That is ... possible. Princess Lyra stepped forward. Commander Veltar, this is Princess Lyra. I need you to do something for me. Your Highness, I am at your service. I need you to send a message to Prince Vorthan. Tell him that I am coming to the summit, but that I have conditions for the marriage. Conditions, Your Highness? Tell him that I have learned things about him during my journey, things that concern me. Tell him that I want to meet with him privately before the ceremony to discuss these concerns. Jake could see what she was doing. She was using their plan to make Prince Vorthan think she was going to reveal his secrets. That would force him to show his true nature. Your Highness, Commander Veltar said, are you certain this is wise? Do it, Commander, and record his response. As you wish, Your Highness, the communication ended. Princess Lyra looked at Jake with determination in her eyes. Now we wait, she said. They did not have to wait long. 20 minutes later, Amy received an urgent message from Commander Veltar. Princess, Amy said, you need to hear this. The recording of Prince Vorthan's response filled the bridge. His voice was cold and angry. Tell the princess that she will marry me as planned, with no conditions and no delays. If she has concerns, she can discuss them after we are married. And if she tries to cause trouble at the summit, I will make sure she regrets it. He just threatened you, Pete said. In front of the Zephyrian commander, Dr. Carter added, who recorded. The whole thing, Amy said with a smile. Princess Lyra looked pleased. Phase 1 complete. Now for Phase 2. What is Phase 2? Jake asked. We make him even angrier. Nancy looked up from her pilot station. Princess, I hate to interrupt, but we have another problem. 3 ships just dropped out of hyperspace behind us. They are not Zephyrian. Jake looked at the scanner display. 3 sleek black ships were following them, gaining fast. Hegemony collective ships, Princess Lyra said grimly. Prince Vorthan's. People, what do they want? Nancy asked. Me, Princess Lyra said. He's going to try to take me by force. The lead ship opened communications. A harsh voice filled the bridge. Human vessel, you are carrying stolen property. Surrender the princess immediately or face the consequences. Jake looked at his crew. Pete was already moving toward the weapons console. Amy was setting up defensive communications. Dr. Carter was securing the medical bay. Nancy was plotting evasive maneuvers. Property? Jake said into the communicator. Princess Lyra is not property. She is a person. The princess belongs to Prince Vorthan by law. Return her now. Princess Lyra stepped up to the communication console. This is Princess Lyra. I am not property, and I do not belong to anyone. I am traveling to the summit of my own free will. Princess, you have been corrupted by human influence. We are here to rescue you. I do not need rescuing. You will come with us, willing or not? The communication ended. The 3 ships moved into attack formation. Nancy, evasive maneuvers, Jake ordered. Pete, weapons ready? Captain, Princess Lyra said. We cannot fight them. If I am seen fighting against Prince Vorthan's ships, it will make things worse. Then what do we do? Princess Lyra thought for a moment, then she smiled. We do what humans do best. We think of a third option. She activated the ship's communication system. But this time she sent the signal on multiple frequencies. Every ship in the area would receive it. "This is Princess Lyra of the Zephyrian Empire," she said in a clear, strong voice. "I am traveling to the Galactic Peace Summit aboard the human vessel Lucky Strike. I am doing this by choice as part of my diplomatic mission to understand all species in our galaxy." She paused, then continued. "I am now being attacked by ships belonging to Prince Vorthan of the Hegemony Collective. These ships claim I am property that belongs to Prince Vorthan. I want everyone to know that I reject this claim completely." Jake watched the scanner. Other ships in the area were changing course to investigate. "I also want everyone to know," Princess Lyra continued, "that Prince Vorthan has threatened me with violence if I do not marry him without question. This is not the behavior of someone who wants peace. This is the behavior of someone who wants control." More ships appeared on the scanner. News vessels, diplomatic ships, and even some military escorts were converging on their location. "Prince Vorthan," Princess Lyra said, "if you attack this ship, you will be doing it in front of the entire galaxy. Is that really what you want?" The three black ships stopped moving toward the Lucky Strike. Jake could imagine Prince Vorthan's rage at being outmaneuvered. "Princess," came the harsh voice again, "you will regret this." "Probably," Princess Lyra said calmly, "but I would regret marrying you more." The three ships turned and jumped back into hyperspace. Jake let out a breath he had not realized he was holding. "That was brilliant," Amy said. "That was dangerous," Dr. Carter said. "That was human," Princess Lyra said with a smile. "When you cannot win by fighting, you win by thinking." Nancy looked at her instruments. "Princess, we now have an escort of 12 ships from 6 different species. News of this incident is spreading across the galaxy." "Good," Princess Lyra said. "Now, everyone will be watching when we arrive at the summit. Prince Vorthan will have to be very careful about what he does." Jake looked at the princes with new respect. "You planned this." "I learned from the best teachers," she said, looking around at the crew of the Lucky Strike. "I learned that sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to make it everyone else's problem too," Pete laughed. "That is definitely human thinking." "We are almost at Kepler 442b, Nancy reported. 1 more hour. Princess Lyra looked out at the stars one last time. 1 more hour to figure out how to save billions of lives. "No pressure," Amy said. "Actually," Princess Lyra said, "I think I know exactly what to do." The Lucky Strike arrived at Kepler 442b with an escort of 20 ships from 12 different species. News crews, diplomats, and military observers had all come to see what would happen when Princess Lyra faced Prince Vorthan at the Peace Summit. Jake docked at the orbital station that hosted the summit. As they walked through the docking tube, he could see hundreds of aliens watching them through the viewing windows. Everyone in the galaxy had heard about the princess who traveled on a human ship. "Are you ready for this?" Jake asked Princess Lyra. "No," she said honestly, "but I'm going to do it anyway. That is what humans taught me." The summit hall was enormous. Representatives from 50 species sat in a great circle, with the Zephyrian and Hegemony delegations facing each other across the center. Prince Vorthan stood with his advisors, wearing elaborate robes and a crown that looked like black metal thorns. Princess Lyra walked into the hall wearing simple clothes and no crown. Behind her came Jake and his crew, still in their work uniforms. The contrast was striking. "Princess Lyra," called High Chancellor Kexney, the summit moderator, "you are late." "I am exactly on time," Princess Lyra said. "And I have brought witnesses." Prince Vorthan stepped forward. His face was twisted with anger. "Princess, you have embarrassed both our species with your behavior. Traveling on a primitive human ship, working alongside commoners, fighting battles like a soldier instead of a diplomat." "You are right," Princess Lyra said. "I have learned to work alongside others. I have learned to fight for what is right. I have learned that being a leader means serving others, not controlling them." "You have been corrupted by alien influences," Prince Vorthan said. "You are no longer fit to rule." Murmurs went through the crowd. This was exactly what everyone had expected him to say. "Perhaps you are right," Princess Lyra said. Perhaps I am no longer the same person I was when this marriage was arranged. Prince Vorthan smiled, thinking he had won. Then you admit you cannot fulfill your duties as a princess? I can fulfill my duties, Princess Lyra said, but I cannot marry you. The hall erupted in shocked voices. Prince Vorthan's face turned dark red. You will marry me as agreed, he said. The alliance depends on it. The alliance depends on trust, Princess Lyra said. And I do not trust you. She activated a small device that projected recordings into the air above the crowd. Everyone could hear Prince Vorthan's voice as he spoke to his advisors about using the marriage to gain access to Zephyrian technology, then breaking the alliance and conquering other species. The hall fell silent as the recordings played. Prince Vorthan's plans were laid bare for everyone to see. These recordings are fake, Prince Vorthan shouted. Lies created by humans to destroy our alliance. The recordings were made by your own people, Princess Lyra said calmly, and verified by 3 independent sources. High Chancellor Kexney looked at the evidence displays. Prince Vorthan, how do you respond to these accusations? I respond with action, Prince Vorthan snarled. He pulled out a weapon and pointed it at Princess Lyra. The princess will marry me now, or I will take what I want by force. Guards from a dozen species started moving, but they were too far away. Prince Vorthan was going to shoot. Jake stepped in front of Princess Lyra. Pete moved to his left. Amy and Nancy flanked them on the right. Dr. Carter stood behind the princess, ready to treat any wounds. You want to hurt her? Jake said. You go through us first? Foolish humans, Prince Vorthan said. You cannot stop me. Maybe not, Jake said. But we can try. That is what humans do. Other delegates began standing up. First the mining representatives, who remembered how the Lucky Strike had saved their colony. Then the Trade Federation members, who knew human ships always kept their promises. Soon, representatives from 30 species were standing between Prince Vorthan and Princess Lyra. Prince Vorthan, High Chancellor Kexney said, you are threatening violence in a place of peace. This cannot be allowed. I do not care about your rules, Prince Vorthan said. I will have what is mine. I am not yours, Princess Lyra said. She stepped around Jake so Prince Vorthan could see her. I never was, and I never will be. Then you choose war, Prince Vorthan said. No, Princess Lyra said. I choose something better. She walked to the center of the hall where everyone could see her. Her voice carried to every corner of the great room. I renounce my claim to the Zephyrian throne, she said. Gasps echoed through the hall. Even Jake was shocked. I give up my royal status, my titles, and my inheritance, Princess Lyra continued. I do this so that Prince Vorthan cannot use our marriage to gain power over my people. You fool, Prince Vorthan said. Without the marriage alliance, our species will go to war. Not if we create a different kind of alliance, Princess Lyra said. Not based on marriage or fear or political power. Based on the principles I learned from humans. She looked around the hall at all the representatives. I propose an alliance based on mutual aid. When one species is attacked by pirates, others come to help. When one species faces disaster, others offer assistance. When one species needs trade partners, others negotiate fairly. That is impossible, Prince Vorthan said. Species only care about themselves. Humans do not, Princess Lyra said. They helped a mining colony they had never seen before. They risked their lives for people who could not pay them. They stood up for me even though I am not their species. She pointed to Jake and his crew. These humans taught me that true strength comes from helping others, not controlling them. True leadership means serving others, not ruling them. High Chancellor Kexney stepped forward. Princess Lyra, without your royal status, you cannot speak for the Zephyrian Empire. She can speak. For us, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Commander Veltar entering the hall with a group of Zephyrian officers. Commander? Princess Lyra said, surprised. The Royal Council has voted, Commander Veltar said. After seeing the recordings of Prince Vorthan's threats and witnessing your courage, They have decided to support your proposal. You may not be a princess anymore, but you are still our chosen representative. Prince Vorthan raised his weapon again. Then I will kill you all. No, you will not, said Chief Martinez. The mining chief walked into the hall with 20 other miners, all carrying the tools of their trade. Behind them came Captain Harris from a trade ship, Commander Singh from a patrol vessel, and dozens of other humans from across the galaxy. Word travels fast in human space, Chief Martinez said to Jake. When we heard Princess Lyra was in trouble, we came to help. Just like you helped us, Captain Harris said. Jake looked around the hall. Humans were still arriving, filling the galleries and standing in the aisles. Cargo haulers, miners, traders, diplomats, and ordinary citizens who had heard the news and come to stand with their friend. Prince Vorthan looked at the crowd surrounding him. His weapon shook in his hand. This changes nothing, he said. Without the marriage alliance, the Hegemony Collective will find other ways to get what it wants. Good luck with that, Amy said from her position near the communication console. Because every word you have said here today is being broadcast across the galaxy. Everyone knows what kind of leader you really are. Prince Vorthan looked at the recording devices and camera crews. His face went pale as he realized what had happened. You have tricked me, he said. We have revealed the truth, Princess Lyra. Side, there is a difference. High Chancellor Kexney called for order. Prince Vorthan, the Hegemony Collective delegation is expelled from this summit. Security will escort you to your ships. As Prince Vorthan was led away, he looked back at Princess Lyra with hate in his eyes. This is not over. Yes, it is, she said. For you, it is over. The summit continued for 3 more days. Species after species agreed to Princess Lyra's proposal for a mutual aid alliance. The humans offered their ships for transportation and communication. Other species offered technology, resources, and military support. On the final day, Princess Lyra stood once again in the center of the hall. I want to thank everyone who made this possible, she said. But most of all, I want to thank the crew of the Lucky Strike. They taught me that the most important thing is not where you come from, but who you choose to become. Jake and his crew stood and waved. Around them, hundreds of humans cheered. I have one final announcement, Princess Lyra said. I am joining the crew of the Lucky Strike as their diplomatic officer. Together we will carry messages of peace and friendship to every corner of the galaxy. As they walked back to their ship, Jake looked at Princess Lyra. Are you sure about this? You gave up everything for us? I did not give up everything, she said. I found something better. I found a family. They boarded the Lucky Strike together. As the ship undocked from the station, its lights flickered. In that familiar pattern, Princess Lyra smiled as she felt the ship's heartbeat through the deck. Where to next, Captain? Nancy asked. Jake looked at his crew, including their newest member. Wherever we are needed, he said. The Lucky Strike jumped to hyperspace, carrying its family of friends toward their next adventure among the stars.